Hi everyone, it's good to have you with us. Yeah, we've got folks from all over the place. Somebody put their hand up and said, I'm from Newfoundland. We've got Seattle, we've got Stuttgart, we've got Vilnius, we've got Sydney. Happy cornflake time for them. Yes, we've got people from, well, Washington DC. Yes, definitely. And from Pudsey. Wow, goodness me. And you're all very welcome. And so are all the people who sing, and I hope you'll sing, and play, and I hope you'll play. And those people who just like to join in any way they know how, I hope you'll feel totally uninhibited and give it some welly. I hope so. Well, we've got people with us on Zoom, we've got people with us on Facebook and on YouTube, and welcome to you as well. It's great to have you with us. And now we're going to move on, and I'm going to tell you what it's all about, what is on the agenda. Well, we're going to sing what we call local carols. We have other names, village carols, that's a name I use a lot. We have, call them sometimes Sheffield carols as well. And sometimes I call them hidden carols. And you may wonder why I call them hidden carols. Well, I call them hidden carols because during the 19th century they were driven out of the churches. I think the church authorities just thought this is too much fun. People are enjoying themselves too much, and so they weren't allowed to sing them. And then when it came to the folk song collectors, they went, Cecil Sharp and Ray Vaughan Williams, they went, a bit sniffy about them. Oh, look, they're singing in parts. We don't like that. Oh, look, some of these carols are composed by people we know. Oh, we don't like that. Of course, real folk songs flew past with the stork and were deposited overnight secretly. Well, we know that's not true at all. Anyway, they are wonderful carols, and the people have treasured them, and people have taken them onto the streets and into the pubs and kept them alive and thriving. This is not some historical reenactment. We're not trying to recreate music from a bygone era. My gosh, no. This is here and now. It is a living tradition. It is oral tradition. Well, our festival was founded in 1994, and wow, it was quite special. It was about not about sweet singing in the choir, not about baby Jesus or anything as gentle as a lullaby. We just wanted to be celebrate our Christmas carols and be rumbustious and joyful and at times exuberant and full-blooded in our participation. Yes, we did. And just like our forebears who took these carols to all parts of the world, well, not all parts of the world, but certainly they took them to the York Peninsula in South Australia, to York County, Pennsylvania in the US. Goodness me. And these people have kept the caroling tradition alive and thriving. And many other places have done so, have joined in since the Second World War. Well, tonight wouldn't be possible without a lot of help. We have never done anything like this before. We have never muted and unmuted anything like this before. There may be pregnant pauses, there may be slight hesitations. We apologise for those. We'll do our very best. And if our bandwidth gets limited, sorry, we can't do anything about that. Zoom's a wonderful thing, but Zoom has its limitations. But here I would like to pay tribute to Mel Barber and Mike Adamson, our pilots for the night, our technical pilots who will take us across all those stormy waters. When Norma and I first heard the carols, it was 1969, and it was November time after, in those days, after Bonfire Night. We were in the Three Merry Lads at Lodgemore, and we went in this little tap room, and we sat down quietly, and within no time at all, somebody had thrust the words in front of us, and this senior caroller, this gent, he leant across and he says, "Are you going to sing firsts or seconds?" Well, he hit the nail right on the head, because these carols have many of them have two main predominant parts, trebles and basses. And then he hit the nail on the head with the names, first and seconds, because when the parts go into the fuguing sections, one part sings first and the other part sings second. And tonight we will have the seconds going first and the first going seconds in a couple of carols. So you've got to see if you can spot those. But we came home that night singing the carols at the top of our voices. We didn't know the words particular, we didn't know the tunes, but goodness me, we were really into counterpoint, I promise you. Well, it was the 7th of December 1969 that Norma and I first entered the Royal Hotel at Dungworth, and there Lol Loy was playing the organ. And I'm going to share a slide now. We're going to see Lol Loy, and we're going to see we come down to the slide below, and there we'll see Lol playing the organ at the Blue Ball. Lol played at Bradfield, and then he played for many years in the Royal Hotel, and then he moved to the pub nearest to his home, which was the Blue Ball at Worrell. And Worrell was the centre for so much of the carolling, and Lol told us all about it. His father, Len, had been treasurer of a group known as the Big Set, and they were extraordinary. He told us all about them. He'd been to their reunions as a young lad after the war. And you can see from that photograph just how much ammunition we used to need to sing the carols in those days. Goodness me, we had a great time. And these were the people that Lol told us about, the Big Set. And I was introduced to people like John Dawson, who played the carols in the pubs. He played at the Shoulder of Mutton in Worrell at the time. And John told me about his father, Ben, who led the Big Set in their latter years, just before the Second World War. And then I met, I didn't meet Ben because he died, but I met his widow Ethel, and it was Ethel who entrusted me with the music of the Big Set. And here for the first time we were able to see the wonderful instrumental parts that the Big Set had. So instead of just playing the vocal parts on the piano or organ, we were able to play them on stringed instruments and woodwind and brass and you name it. And they were wonderful parts. They were full of embellishment, full of runs and so on. And we're going to sing our first carol tonight. We're going to sing this one, Awake Arise Good Christians. And this was a favourite of William Mount, who led the Big Set. It was William Mount who wrote out so many of those manuscripts as well. There he is. Look at that wonderful photograph. Only in this last week or two has Grace Whiting, his great-great-grand niece, sent me this photo of William Mount. Her great-great-grandfather was Fred Mount, who is on the set in that photograph of the Big Set. And this carol was known in broadsides and chapbooks, but I don't know any other tune. Some people say that William Mount wrote this tune. I don't know, but it's a cracker. It really is, with a wonderful symphony. And we have a mnemonic for the symphony. To remember how the tune goes, we go, when the beer is on the table, when the beer... Some of you may think, that's reminiscent of when the roll is called up yonder. Well, too true. Okay, but anyway, over to Awake Arise Good Christians. I'm going to push the chair asunder, pick up my pint and have a sip while we hear the Festival of Village Carols striking up the introduction. Very good, very good, very good. We sometimes have another repeat to that wonderful carol. Okay, well, I've got a white screen in front of me. Let's get rid of it. Okay. Well, I hope you joined in. I hope you had a good sing. That's such a good carol to start with. Well, we're going to have Ark Ark now. Now, there's a lot of confusion about Ark Ark because there's quite a few. We have, oh, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 version settings of Ark Ark round Sheffield. This one is Ark 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 Ark. Yes, 4 harks. We don't know who wrote the tune. We don't know who wrote the words. They were on broadsides and chapbooks. Goodness me, sometimes this one is called Glad Tidings. Some people say, let's have 4 harks. That's very modern, I think. But anyway, okay, we're going to go for hark, 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 hark. Wow, wasn't that good? A blast from the past. 2008, I think. Yeah, 2008. And lovely to see people who are no longer with us. Pat Mallam, Bob Patton, yeah, and one or two others as well. But lovely to see young people there. I don't know if anybody spotted Lydia at the back. I did. Yeah, great. And Cuthbert soaring away on mightily on the cello. What lovely sight. Okay, well, we're going to go on to Liverpool now. Liverpool is the name of a carol, and Liverpool is a carol by Edward Harwood. And we don't know when he wrote it, but he died in about 1787, probably about 1760. It's one of, I think, probably the oldest setting of While Shepherds Watched We Sing. It's a cracker. And Edward was obviously very proud of it because he called it Liverpool, where he came from. Good for him. And well, the words Nahum Tate, written by Nahum Tate, he took them from St. Luke's Gospel, why not? He wrote them very simply and straightforward, why not? He did it excellently. They've hardly been changed since he did them. Well, he was Irish, he was from Dublin, and he was the Poet Laureate. And he did, with the help of Mr. Brady, produce the new version of the Psalms as well. So, While Shepherds Watched, why is it so popular? Why do in the vicinity of Sheffield do we have over 30 settings of it? Well, it was the only one allowed in church for a start till about 1780, and then one or two others were allowed into church as well. So it had a head start, but it's so traditional, and it's in ballad form. Yeah, it's in ballad form. It goes 4-3-4-3. Yeah, and so it fits ever so well with so many tunes. And we're singing now Liverpool. Over to you. Right, well sung, everyone. That was a cracking carol. And John Fowler is wondering at this very moment if I've missed him out. I'm sorry, John. We should have had you by now, but what better time than after Liverpool? This is about the time when we usually have this particular carol. And John's going to tell you which carol it is. Let me tell you just very briefly, John is a wonderful supporter of the carols. He sings several solos, but he is a stalwart of the Blue Ball at Worrell. And when Lol moved from the Royal to the Blue Ball, he moved with Lol. Goodness me, he did. And he's been a power and a strength at the Blue Ball ever since. So I don't know if you're ready, John, but we'd love to hear from you. What are you going to sing?
I'll make my mind up, and I'll find something to sing in a minute. So thank you very much. Wonderful lies, wonderful lies. Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. I was trying to think when I first got involved in the carols outside of chapel, and that was at the Royal, at the wonderfully named village of Dungworth. And I'd be about 17, and I lived in absolute awe of the people who were singing there, especially the soloists. The soloists were always the older people, and very cruelly, we call them old fogies. And Harry Green sang this song, A Song for the Time. And he made such a wonderful job of it, a wonderful man and a wonderful singer. And as Ian's just said, he then went down to the ball with Lol Loy, and I went down with them. And he sang it for many years, did Harry Green. And then one year he didn't come. And I was privileged to be asked to sing it. And then I realized that I'd become an old fogey. And I've sung it there ever since. I'll sing 2 verses, the first of which becomes the chorus. And I'll try and remember to make a sign for you all to join in on the chorus. A song for the time when the sweet bells chime, calling rich and poor to pray. On that glad morn when Christ was born, on the holy Christmas day. The squire came forth from his rich old hall, and the peasants by 2 and by 3. The woodman let his hatchet fall, and the shepherd left his tree. A song for the time when the sweet bells chime, calling rich and poor to pray. On that glad morn when Christ was born, on the holy Christmas day. Through the churchyard snow in a goodly row, they came forth old and young, and with one consent in prayer they bent, and with one consent they sang. A song for the time when the sweet bells chime, calling rich and poor to pray. On that glad morn when Christ was born, on the holy Christmas day. We'll cherish it now in the time of strife as a holy and peaceful thing, for it tells of his love coming down from above and the peace he deigns to bring. A song for the time when the sweet bells chime, calling rich and poor to pray. On that glad morn when Christ was born, on the holy Christmas day. In those good old days of prayer and praise, 'twas a season of right goodwill, for they kept his birthday holy then, and will keep it holy still. A song for the time when the sweet bells chime, calling rich and poor to pray. On that glad morn when Christ was born, on the holy Christmas day. Played by the wonderful Julia Bishop.
Well done, John. Well sung. That was really special. Thank you very much, and thank you for your patience. Okay, and now it doesn't usually happen like this, but we're going to have two solos, one after each other. But let me say, before we have our second solo from Rosie Hood, how great it is at the Royal that so many young people are now going on a regular basis. And of course, things are changing. Our traditions, our carolling traditions, have never been fossilized or cast in amber or anything like that. They've been on the move, they've been evolving, they've been changing. And of course, with young people joining the tradition, new things happen. And I'm delighted to say that Rosie's invited to sing regularly at the Royal at Dungworth, and she's going to sing for us tonight. First of all, Rosie, tell us where you're from and what you're going to sing.
Hi, everybody. It is lovely to see so many of you and to see lots of friends there as well. I'm originally from Wiltshire, but I now live in Sheffield, and I am a regular over at Dungworth at the Royal. And I have been so welcomed by everybody there. And any of you who haven't been, it's just the most wonderful atmosphere, and you're crowded right into the pub, squished in with everybody else. And it's a little different, obviously, but I'm squished into my spare room here in Sheffield, and I'm going to sing "The Moon Shines Bright" for you, which I was asked to sing by my good friend Dave Eyre a few years ago for the Royal, and I think it's happened 3 years running now, so I'm sure that makes it a tradition. And this was collected by Lucy Broadwood in the 1880s or thereabouts from the Goby family, who were travellers down in the Horsham Dorking area in Surrey and Sussex, so not local to Sheffield, but migrated up here. And yeah, I learnt it from the singing of Irene Shettle. So hi, Irene, if you're on here, possibly watching. Thank you very much. This is The Moon Shines Bright. If you know it, sing all of it. If you don't, then you'll know when I'm getting to the end. And the last line is, "And I wish you a happy new year." And I feel like I wish that even more this year than normal. So yes, to join in with that ending. Oh, the moon shines bright and the stars give a light a little before its day. Our Lord, our God, he calls upon us all, and he bids us awake and pray. Awake, awake, good people all, listen and you shall hear how Christ our Saviour, he died on the cross, saying God loved us so dear. So dear, God loved us, and for our sake God slain. We will all leave off our wicked, wicked ways, and will turn to the Lord again. Oh, the life of a man is but a span. He flourishes like a flower. He is here today to is gone, and he's dead all in an hour. So teach your children well, good man, while here on earth you stay. For it might be better for your sweet soul when your body lies under the clay. Here's a green turf at your head, good man, another one at your feet. God bless you all, both great and small, and I wish you a happy new year.
Yeah.
Very much.
Well sung, Rosie. Absolutely superb. Lovely. And it won't be the first carol from that part of the world that's been adopted into the Sheffield tradition. So don't think you are a one-off. You are not. We have some very famous tunes that have come from that part of the world. Pentonville to name but one, Cranbrook to name another. And now we're going to move on, and I'm going to relinquish the MC role to a wonderful friend, Ray Ellison. Ray is someone who has joined me on a journey with the carols from way back, from the late 60s, and Ray has taken up the music of the big set and their parts and taken them on board from the 94 festival and introduced them into the pubs in Grenoside, and played there. He's had string quartets of 4, 5, 6, 7. They've all been string quartets and they've been brilliant, and they have had the carols now, of course, firmly entrenched in the Top Red, the old Red Lion in Grenoside. And Ray's dad, I think I've got this right, Ray, played the cello for the carols as well. Okay, over to you, Ray.
Thanks a lot, Ian. Well, hello, everybody. Season's greetings. The first carol in my set is Back Lane. Firm favourite. Words been around about 300 years as it was. The music a bit more recently, 150 years later, about 1850, from William Womack of Stannington. Now this carol has a coda. That's an extra bit, add-on bit, which we sing at the end, just after the last verse. So we sing 3 verses and straight into the coda. Awake, awake, ye saints awake, and hail this day our Saviour's born. Hallelujah, praise ye the Lord. So let's waken those saints and sing Back Lane along with the 1996 Village Carol Festival. Okay? Well, that was fantastic. Thanks a lot. Right, the next carol, we're going over to Stannington. So we're staying in Stannington. But this particular carol is traditionally sung as a solo. And we're lucky tonight that we've got Manny Grimsley with us. Now, Manny is a folk singer, born and bred in Sheffield, and is actually also a mean fiddle player. So over to you, Manny.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Not So Sunny Sheffield this evening. The introduction went, my name is Manny Grimsley, and I'm coming to you from my hometown of Sheffield. I was first introduced to the carols in utero by my father and mother when they took me along before I was even born. So most people enjoy that fact. I've been a soloist at the Royal on Sundays for about the past 5 years, singing the carol Stannington, written both words and music by Mina Dyson, a great local character. Matt Crum has been very kind and recorded an organ part for me, and although it's a solo, because we're all muted, feel free to blast your hearts out, especially on the last verse, which we generally sing in unison. All right. Sing, all ye people of the earth today, for Jesus Christ was born on Christmas Day. Ring out, ye joyous bells in heaven, ring on, for Christ is born. Born in a stable bare of humble birth, born of a virgin pure to dwell on earth. Let all mankind rejoice on this great day, for Christ is born. He came to us that wars on earth may cease. He came to bring us hope and joy and peace. Worship our nations at his feet today, for Christ is born. Especially for you, Trish. All together, glory. Glory to God on high, we all will sing. Glory and praise we render to our King. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men this day, for Christ is born.
Well, thanks a lot, Manny, for that. That was terrific. We're now going to move on to another firm favourite, Jacob's Well. Now, Jacob's Well seems to exist in many different versions, either side of the Atlantic, which all seem to stem from an original by Joseph Griggs, who was about 1720, 1768. But the first printing of the text and tune together was in 1801 by John Beaumont, who was a musician and Methodist preacher in Holmfirth in Yorkshire. Now, when Jacob's Well is announced in the pubs, it's usual to get a response of, "I didn't know he'd been badly." Well, in the top Reading Grenoside, this would undoubtedly have been from Jerry Bates. Sadly, Jerry died this week, last weekend. And apart from being a committed caroller, he was a valued and long member of Grenoside Sword Dancers. He was also heavily involved in all sorts of folk music in Sheffield. He was in the Sheffield City Morris Men, Sheffield City Giants, and he also ran the folk train. We're going to miss Jerry a lot. So I'd like to take this opportunity dedicating this carol to Jerry and to all the other people who we've lost this year. Ian's already mentioned Pat Mallon. So traditionally, the last two lines of the last verse are repeated. So, behold the living waters flow. Come drink and thirst no more. So let's raise the roof along with the 2012 Village Carol Festival goers and sing Jacob's Well. Oh, that was wonderful, wasn't it? Really getting going now. Right, we're going into Derbyshire now, to Fulham actually, and to Joy to the World, one of the many carols of Richard Furness. Now, Richard Furness was around in 1791, 1857. He was a multi-talented phenomenon, really. He wrote both the words and the music to Joy to the World, but he was into everything and everything. Some of his occupational skills, he was schoolmaster at Dore, he was parish clerk, scribe, notary, draftsman, dentist, surveyor, sign writer, flautist, and of course, musician. The words to Joy to the World were published the year after he died in the poetical works of the late Richard Furness, but the music wasn't published at all, but remains in the Retford manuscripts, local to Fulham, and of course now in the Derbyshire Book of Village Carols. So let's join the Village Carol Festival Goers of 2012 and all sing and play Joy to the World.
Joy
Gosh, I did enjoy that. That was super. That was really special. I enjoyed that. I haven't sung that carol with so much gusto for at least a year. Who knows? Anyway, um, Norma and I sing at Fulo. We have a sing on Christmas time, usually Saturday afternoon. We're having one this year. If you want to look at localcarols.org, you'll find out about all these things. And we sing on Christmas Day, and we sing round the village, and it is very, very special. And it's very special for all sorts of reasons. We get invited into people's homes, and we become part of all these different families' Christmas. It's really lovely. And one person who joins us on these occasions, and I've forgotten to thank Ray, but thank you, Ray. That was great. Ray was top form. He gave us all the facts and infos about Richard Furness and all the rest of it. Well done, Ray. Really appreciate it. But back to Fulo. One person who's with us as we go around the village this last few years on Christmas Day has been a young man from Great Hucklow, which is more or less the next village to Fulo, and he sings with us, and he is a tremendous asset. And now he's studying music and music history. He's at Royal Holloway in London. His name is Seb Stone, and I'm going to hand over to Seb, who's going to tell you what he's going to sing. And over to you, Seb.
Hello. There we are. I muted myself. Yes, I'm Seb. I'm from Great Hucklow, which is next to Fulo, as Ian said, and I'm studying history and music joint degree at Royal Holloway, which is near London, basically in London. And I'm going to sing All in the Morning, which is a carol from Castleton, which is, again, not very far away from where I live. It's one of the oldest carols in the repertory, and it dates back to sort of 15th century, that kind of time, and it's got two sections where everyone joins in, whereas I don't explain this very well, did I? The rest is a solo, and yes, there's bits where you all join in. It was this version was recorded by Ian in 1990 from Joe Hallam, but it's been noted by other musicologists and folk collectors, including Rafe Vaughan Williams in 1908 when he came to Castleton. But yes, this is one of the only ones he noted down, because, as Ian was saying, the early folk song collectors didn't really like noting down things that had parts. So this is one of the older and more modal ones that the old folk song collectors really liked. Anyway, I pre-recorded this, so here's the carol. Hope you enjoy. It was on Christmas Day, and all in the morning, that our Saviour was born, and our heavenly King. And was not this a joyful thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on New Year's Day, and all in the morning, that they circumcised our Saviour and our heavenly King. And was not this a joyful thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on the 12th day, and all in the morning, that the wise men were led to our heavenly King. And was not this a joyful thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on the 20th day, and all in the morning, that the wise men returned from our heavenly King. And was not this a joyful a thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on Candlemas Day, and all in the morning, that they visited the temple with our heavenly King. And was not this a joyful a thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on Holy Wednesday, and all in the morning, that Judas betrayed our dear heavenly King. And was not this a woeful a thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on sheer Thursday, and all in the morning, that they plaited a crown of thorns for our heavenly King. And was not this a woeful a thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on Good Friday, and all in the morning, that they crucified our Saviour and our heavenly King. And was not this a woeful a thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name. It was on Easter Day, and all in the morning, that our Saviour rose, our own heavenly King. The sun and the moon, they did both rise for him. And was not this a joyful a thing? And sweet Jesus, we'll call him by name.
Thank you, Seb. That was great. Lovely. Super carol, and you did it very well. I hope you all were joining in with the chorusy bits. I was. Yes, and all in the morning and the other chorusy bits. Yeah, I think that makes it. That's part of it. A call and response. A bit like a sea shanty, not so different after all. And these carols, I had a lovely recording of Jack Beveridge that Brian played for me, Brian Woodall. And Jack, he was singing really gutsy and yeah, very special. Not pretty at all. Now, we're going to move on now, and we're going to sing Curly Hark. Now, Curly Hark is, of course, a name for a carol that's got hark in the first line. Well, this one is Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and of course, we remember Charles Wesley for this one. And it's been rewritten a few times. But Curly Hark, why Curly? Well, there you go. There is a lovely story from the village of Eyam. It concerns a man called George Dawson. Now, George Dawson, very musical fella. He taught music, taught piano. You remember me mentioning Doris Coates? Well, he was Doris Coates' grandfather, and he taught music all over the Hope Valley. Anyway, he was working away late one night with leather, and he had this tune in his head, and he hadn't got anything to write it with or write it on, so he just took the awl that he was working with and heated it up, and one by one he pricked out the notes in a leather hide. The smell must have been awful, but anyway, so the story goes, it was Curly Hark. I'm afraid it isn't true. Because there's a manuscript in Dorset from Poole with the same tune in it, dating from before George was born. But never mind, maybe George heard it and it just suddenly came to him how it went. But it really is special. Curly Hark, why called Curly? Well, because the notes are doing this all the time. It's melisma, it's called, more than one note per syllable. And but I think I prefer the word curly. A curly tune. There are many curly tunes in our repertoire, but this must surely be the curliest. And what's more, it's got all the feeling of a canon, because they come in, four parts come in separately and at times, and four parts do different things, but four parts also have bits and pieces of the tune. I haven't made up my mind what I'm going to sing, but I might jump ship. I might go from the trebles to the bass. I'll see. Anyway, you sing what you want to and join in. The Eam Carolers going to sing it for us. They're going to sing it a cappella, as they sung it at our festival. And join in and sing your heart out. We love it. Curly Hark. It's one of my favourites. Yeah, great. We have a tour of the village on usually the Wednesday before Christmas, and it will be the Wednesday before Christmas. I suspect, though, we'll have a virtual tour if you want to join us. And one of the treats that we have, our first stop after leaving the village club, and that's the Mechanics, is to walk up to Upper Town, and there we sing at the old house, which is the place that Richard Furness was born in. It's a wonderful old house, and Furness family still live there. Some, Sally and others, John, sing with us around the carols, and we sing at Richard Furness's house 4 Richard Furness carols. How about that? Absolutely great. Well, we're going to move on now, and we're going to move to a carol from Castleton. We've had one already from Seb, but this is maybe the best known and the most favourite of all the carols that are sung in the Hope Valley, and it's Castleton Styles, Peace O'er the World. And when it's Peace O'er the World, Brian Woodall, who leads the carolling, has us all facing east and facing Bradder, because one of the nicknames for the carol is the Bradder Anthem, the Bradder Anthem. Yeah, Peace O'er the World. I wonder, well, Richard Furness wrote the tune. Yes, he did. And the words were by some lesser known poet, Alexander Pope. You might have heard his name somewhere. He wrote it in 1712 in a long, long poem called Messiah. And the broadside printers pinched some verses out of it to make a carol. Okay, so we're going to have Peace O'er the World. Well done there. That was a grand carol, to say the least. And those words, they are terrific. And we love the sightless eyeballs. We call it the eyeballs carol even. And it's no surprise to me that Castleton folk loved it so much. After all, that many of them were lead miners, and eyeballs were pretty important. Let's put it that way. Pretty important, especially when you're underground and working underground and light is so scarce. Well, there's a lovely custom, from New Year's Eve, where the miners, the lead miners, would take the finest piece of ore they could lay their hands on, and on top of it place a candle and sit round it down the mine and sing the old Castleton carols. Well, Brian insists on keeping it going, and we do exactly the same in the pub in the George at the moment we are. So there we are, a wonderful old custom connected with lead mining and carolling. And now we're going to go to Wales. I bought an absolutely extraordinary LP years and years ago of a carolling tradition in mid Wales called Plygain. I didn't know anything about it, and Welsh is very much a foreign language to me. But I listened to it and I was enraptured by it. And it was a tremendous pleasure to me that in 2008 we were able to have Plygain carols sung at our festival. And we have, at the 2020 celebration, we have 2 Plygain contributions, and the first of our contribution is from someone, Rhiannon Ifans, who is an expert on carolling and a wonderful singer, and she has a wonderful singing partner called Trevor Pugh. And I've heard Rhiannon and Trevor sing at Plygains, and goodness me, you couldn't ask for 2 better singers to sing these carols. So I'm going to go over to, first of all, to Trevor, because he wants to say hello.
Noswaith dda, Sheffield.
Well done, Trevor. We are totally informed. And now we're going to go over to Rhiannon. And Rhiannon is going to tell us about Plygain, and she's also going to tell us, and she's written a book on it, by the way, and she's also going to tell us about the 2 carols that we're going to see on the videos because of the restrictions. Rhiannon and Trevor have not been able to get together at the present time, but never mind, we're in for a treat. Over to you, Rhiannon.
Well, hello everyone, it's good to be here. We have 2 Plygain carols that we'd like to share with you. You may know that families in Wales have their own personal Plygain carols kept in a family songbook, which they guard with their lives. These carols are sung unaccompanied at a traditional Christmas service. Plygain singing isn't led by a priest or a vicar. We just shuffle forward when we think we're ready to sing. So we have 2 film clips to show you this evening. The first is from an actual Plygain, and it shows us singing Moliant Avo I Dduw, praise be to God. And this is taken from an amateur film that records the very last Plygain service held at Llanfihangel yng Ngwynfa Church in January of this year, 2020. The church was packed to the rafters, many singers sitting on the floor, on a stone and slate floor, even just in front of the altar. Well, the church is now closed, making that evening a historic one. Centuries of tradition coming to an end, infinitely sad. We sang at that last Plygain a South African tune, but the words, they speak of the coming of Jesus Christ into the world on a mission to release us from the judgment of Adam and to bring us to salvation. And then to close, our second carol is Ar Gyfer Heddiw'r Bore, filmed live in a television studio. The author, David Hughes, was a wonderful man, a tall, slim, handsome man who was a tailor and who loved to wear velvet coats. Very chic, but he was a drunkard, and that led him into serious trouble. But in time, he felt deep remorse for his excessive lifestyle and was converted. And so his song is about the cross and the Prince of Peace mediating between God and man. It's a 12-verse carol. So we'll only sing 4 verses, and I would like to thank the technical team for helping us out on this one. And so thank you very much, Mel and Mike. Over to you now. Enjoy.
Anointing doors and and Judah, gan wydyn bach i'r byd, I ddod â ni gadarn noddfa, gan wydyn bach i'r byd. Nawr yw'r bach uchel dras, awdur gras i'w wen, ein rhyddhau o ddedfryd adda, gan wydyn bach i'r byd. Ein erthol fraith fewnaeth rownd istel, sanctaidd o'i enw ef, chwasgar y balch a chwalu'r clysgar, sanctaidd o'i enw ef. Nid am waith, coen a ball, dydd i'r dall a'i drefn, carig elani am mawr a'i hyder, sanctaidd o'i enw ef. Rhoddodd a'i waed mwyn ein cadw, deled y dair nasti, goddef a gloi a gwawd a torw, deled y dair nasti. Hollti'r graig, sigl o'r dwm, ac o'r dwrn y fe, cododd ma byw o dir y meirw, deled y dair nasti. Cyl yw y ffordd i wlad y gwynfyd, diogel pob perchen ffydd, croch i wallu a nafon fywyd, diogel pob perchen ffydd. Crist am dail ar top troch, un o'r hawch a'i llawn, alfa omega efan cwrdd, diogel pob perchen ffydd. It's gorna sain ar fyny Sion, moliant o i ddiw, dybler y gan y nofn y galon, moliant o i ddiw. Can ar branedigion glan, newydd gan yr oed, mawr ar hafedd o lai weithredion, moliant o i ddiw.
Ar gyfer heddiw'r bore'n faban bach, yn faban bach, y ganwyd gwreiddyn Jessen faban bach. y cadarn ddaeth o Bosra, y deddfwr gynta'r Saina, yr iawn gaid ar Galfarian, faban bach, yn faban bach, yn signo bron marau, yn faban bach. Caid bywio ddwfr Ezekiel ar lun Mair, a gwir Mesaia Daniel ar lun Mair. Caid bachgen doeth Esaia, raddewi droed I adda, yr alfa a'r omega ar lun Mair, mewn cor yn Methlem Jiwda ar lun Mair. O da cwroen mewn dalfa ein mwyn, yn esgyn pen Calfaria ein mwyn. I ddioddef dwy ddoloesion ar bren y groes rhwng lladron, y bicell fain a'r hoelion ein mwyn, a cholli gwaed ei galon ein mwyn. Am hyn bechadir brysio fel yr wyt, I mofyn am y noddfa fel yr wyt. I tir agor wythanon, a ilch dy glwyfau dion. Fel eira gwyn yn salmon, fel yr wyt, gan hynny tyrd yn brydlon, fel yr wyt.
Well done, Trevor. Well done, Rhiannon. That really was a treat. And I'm not the only one who thoroughly enjoyed the singing and really entered in the spirit of Plygain. Last time I was in Llantrisangol was in the company of the late and very sorely missed Peter Excel. Peter took me on a wonderful tour of Mid Wales. I think we went to 3 Plygains and we spent hours and hours with the Mari Lwyd. So it was historic. It was an amazing visit. And I know Diane is with us tonight. So we miss Peter very much indeed. And now we're going to move on and we're going to ask Julia Bishop, if she will take the reins. Julia is someone who has been involved with the carols for a long, long time. And she's someone who has helped me tremendously. She's helped me proofread the music when I've organised the carols. She's speaking now as I talk to you from the Banana Republic of Hillsborough. And she's somebody who now plays the organ and has done for 20 years at the Blue Ball at Worrell. And I don't know how I persuaded her to take over, but she has made a brilliant job of it. And there isn't a finer player of carols on the organ to be heard anywhere. So, Julia, it's all yours now as MC. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Ian. And hello, everybody. It's, given there can't be any singing at the Blue Ball this year, it's obviously really good to be introducing these carols. And the next one is Mount Zion, which is absolutely one of our favourites. both at the Blue Ball and indeed at Dungworth and many of the other things around our local area. So just to tell you a little bit about Mount Zion, the composer was the Canterbury shoemaker, Thomas Clarke, who was a prolific composer of church music in the early 18th century. So Rosie, this is another carol that's migrated up this way from the southeast, and in fact the music has spread all over and has been sung to many different sets of words. But I think what makes this carol particularly popular with us is its fantastic symphony between the verses, that musical interlude that you've heard in some of the other carols. And what's interesting is that this symphony actually isn't in Clarke's published music, and we don't really know exactly who did compose it. But what we do know is that it was sung from the 1870s onwards by members of the Big Set. And it really is a mini musical composition in its own right. It's not just a repeat of the vocal parts, it's actually a whole piece of music, sort of tagged on the end, but seems to complement the sung parts beautifully. So thanks to their writing it down, we can play this music now. I play it at the Blue Ball and others play it too, and absolutely enjoy every note. So let's move on and hear it now as we are going to sing Mount Zion. think that's what's technically known as the big finish. Fantastic. Almost heard you all singing there, but it is such a rousing carol. Thank you. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Will and Pippa Noble. Will has had a very long association with the carols, and I'm going to hand over to Will and Pippa, who are going to introduce the next item for us.
Okay, right. Well, can you hear? I live in the village of Shepley, which is just in West Yorkshire, and I used to go to the carol singing at the fountain at Ingbirch, which is only 2 or 3 miles away from me, but I'd never felt really included in it somehow there. And anyway, about it was 1986, I saw Billy Mills and he invited me to go over to the Royal, because he used to do a few of the solos there, and I was made so welcome that I just I've gone ever since. And this is in about at least 25 years ago I got doing this solo. I think it was instigation of Ian why it happened, and it's the Mistletoe Bough. So are we right?
Right.
The mistletoe hung in the old castle hall, the holly branch shone on the old oak wall, and the barons' retainers were blithe and gay, a-keeping their Christmas holiday. And the baron beheld with a father's pride his beautiful child, young Lovell's bride, while she with a bright eye seemed to be the star of the goodly company. Oh, the mistletoe bough, oh, the mistletoe bough. I'm weary of dancing now, she cried, here tarry a moment, I'll hide, and Lovell, be sure thou'rt the first to trace the clue to my secret hiding place. Away she ran and her friends began, each tower to search, each nook to scan, and Lovely cried, where dost thou hide? I'm lonely without thee, my own dear bride. Oh, the mistletoe bough, oh, the mistletoe bough. They sought that night, they sought the next day, they searched all around till a week went away. In the highest, the lowest, the lonesomest spot, young Lovell sought wildly but found her not. And as years went by, their grief at last was told as the sorrowful tale long past. And when Lovell appeared, all the children cried, see the old man weeps for his fairy bride. Oh, the mistletoe bough, oh, the mistletoe bough. At length an old chest that had long lain hid was found in the castle. They raised the lid, a skeleton form lay mouldering there, in the bridal wreath of a lady so fair. Oh, sad was her fate in sportive jest, she hid from her lord in an old oak chest. It
Thank you so much, Will and Pippa. I've never heard it performed like that with the cello and the voice before. Well done, fantastic arrangement. Thank you. And so back to Sheffield again, and it's really becoming a bit of a cliche of the evening to say that this is an another firm favourite, but all of these are firm favourites in our repertoire. And the next carol is Old Foster, which is about this time we sort of think, haven't had a Wild Shepherds for a while, so in comes another Wild Shepherds, but with a different tune. And this setting is, as the name suggests, Old Foster is actually named after the composer, who was a man called John Foster. He lived not very far from where I am sitting right now. He was a composer, but he was also, by day, just happened to be the local coroner. And I suppose, really, it's just such a glorious sing, this carol. And Ian mentioned earlier about the fuguing between the parts. That's where one voice line imitates another. And I always felt like, there was kind of like a rivalry between the parts. And then one day I'm reading Ian's research notes about the way that the big set used to sing. And apparently there was a real spirit of rivalry between the voices there. So I very much hope that even though we can't hear each other, you'll be able to hear the competing parts in this performance of Old Foster, and also just to draw your attention to the amazing symphony again, in which the musicians can really let rip. So let's hear them now as they give the introduction to Old Foster. fantastic carol, just so dignified and arousing. It's a fantastic carol. And still more in store. We come to the Star of Bethlehem now. This time the words are by Henry Kirk White, a man who seems to have come from quite humble beginnings, I think from Nottingham, if I remember rightly. And at quite an early age, around the beginning of the 1800s, he was converted to Christianity by a friend. And this next carol is supposed to portray, in the words that he wrote, this conversion experience. White actually died at the age of 21, but his words live on, not least in this fantastic setting by Thomas Dungworth of Sheffield. Again, Dungworth Symphony is truly, I think, symphonic. You can practically hear the drum rolls and the trumpets fanfaring, just the way it's written into the music. It's wonderful. And as you'll have heard in several other carols, the ending is repeated sometimes more than once, more than twice even by the singers. I think they're just going to do it 2 times on this recording at the festival, but it can go over and over again. Not surprising though, the words are forever and forevermore. So there's this real sense of making the words come alive as we sing them. So let's fill our lungs ready for the Star of Bethlehem.
Wonderful, Julia. Thank you for taking us through those super carols. We enjoyed every minute. Absolutely brilliant. And the instrumentalists were outstanding. And I haven't been able to get to the gallery view, but apparently the instrumentalists who are with us tonight are doing a thunderous, wonderful job. Well done, all of you. Well played. Somewhere, sometime, I'm going to see some screenshots of you all playing away. I hope so. It will be absolutely extraordinary. And I know we've got all sorts of instruments playing. And yeah, I hope you're having fun, especially with things like Old Foster, Star of Bethlehem. My goodness me. Well, we're coming to our next solo item. And at the George at Upper Denby, Alison Whitaker and Peter Beeran are one of the leading pair of singers, and they do a number of solo spots, in the sense they sing several carols, and but we're going to ask them to sing one in particular, and Peter and Alison are going to tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Ian. Back in the 1990s, I was researching carols around Lancashire, and I met a lovely lady called Audrey Dauber, who was the part-time organist at the Bickershaw Independent Methodist Church. Now, Bickershaw, if you don't know where it is, it's halfway between Wigan and Leigh, and it used to have a really big mine, one of the last mines in the area. And the church had a couple of carols that you might know. They did Sweet Chiming Bells, but they had two sets of verses, neither of which were Shepherd's Watched. And they did Ring Out Ye Bells, very similar to the Ecclesfield version. But then Audrey sang me this one, and she didn't have a name for it, so we call it Lily of the Valley, but you'll see why when it's a chorus. It's a version of Angels from the Realms of Glory. We'll start with the chorus, and we don't know anything about it, but if anyone out there does, please let Ian know, and hopefully Ian will then pass it on to us, or put it in the chat. Anyways, Alison, tell you how the chorus goes.
He's the lily of the valley, heaven and earth his praises sing. Come and worship, worship Christ, your heavenly King.
He's the lily of the valley, heaven and earth his praises sing. Come and worship, worship Christ, your heavenly King. Angels from the realms of glory, wing your flight o'er all the earth. Ye who sang creation's story, now proclaim Messiah's birth. He's the lily of the valley, heaven and earth his praises sing. Come and worship, worship Christ, your heavenly King. Shepherds in the fields abiding, watching o'er your flocks by night. God with man is now residing, yonder shines the infant light. He's the lily of the valley, heaven and earth his praises sing. Come and worship, worship Christ, your heavenly King. Sages, leave your contemplations, brighter visions beam afar. Seek the great desire of nations, ye have seen his natal star. He's the lily of the valley, heaven and earth his praises sing. Come and worship, worship Christ, your heavenly King.
Oh, that was lovely.
Well done, Peter. Well done, Alison. That was really special. Enjoyed that. That's lovely. I think it's a really cracking carol, and you only have to hear it once to want to join in. It really is special. Well, we're going to move on to another special carol now. They're all special, as Julia says. This is one that, thanks to the festival, it has become well established. And I have to say, thanks to Grace Walton, but she was born Grace White, one of the White family of Fulwood, Lodgemore, and Grace sang this carol to me and Norma. She sang it accompanying herself on the accordion, and her family really loved this carol. I'd never heard it before at that time. We're talking about in the late 70s, and I often puzzled about these words, and believers assemble and come with songs to Bethlehem. Well, yes, you're probably well ahead of me by now. It is in fact an early translation of Adeste Fidelis. We don't know who did it, but it's known in America as well as in this part of the world, and it is some lovely lyrics. And it's lovely to hear something that isn't "O Come All Ye Faithful," let's put it that way. It's set to an extraordinary tune by the same man who did Star of Bethlehem. It's called Portugal, and people say, why is it called Portugal? And I have a little think, and I think, well, I seem to remember that the Portuguese chapel was and it was like the Portuguese embassy. The Portuguese chapel was the only place which continued celebrating Christmas and singing carols when the rest of the country under Oliver Cromwell they were banned. So I think that's why it's called Portugal, in honour of these the wonderful tradition of continuing singing carols. So anyway, goodness me, all those words, and over to Portugal. I'm fair out of puff out of that. That was great, wonderful. I can't sing that carol without a gorgeous memory, a wonderful memory of a great man, a wonderful friend, Gordon Hoyland. It was Gordon who was the ambassador supreme for Portugal, and everywhere he went he got people to sing it, and people loved it, and people still love it and join in and sing it. It's great. Well, let's turn over the page and we're going to have a look, and we're going to have a carol that's always sort of near the end. Some carols are near the beginning, like Christians Awake, Salute the Happy Mourner, Starter Upper, like Hark, hark, what news those angels bring, good news, they start the session off. This one is when we get to it, we know we're sort of not in the final slope, far from it. We're reaching the climax. It's Mount Moriah. The words have been around for a little while. A lady called Miss Thrupp, according to Julian's dictionary, she wrote them, I think, around about 1812, and then they were taken up. We don't know who wrote this music, but they did a grand job. The tune is in the Centenary Tune Book, but it's not credited. Okay, so we've got Mount Moriah, and we're going to watch a DVD, and it's the 2016 festival. So if you were there at 2016, you may see yourself. So over to Mount Moriah. Wow, fancy that. Gosh, they enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. That was wonderful. And thank you for giving it your support. And those who are wondering which two carols did the firsts go second and the seconds go first, the answer is Old Foster and Mount Moriah. There we are. Give yourself 10 out of 10 if you spotted it. Well, we're handing over now to another MC, someone who has supported the festival in all sorts of ways, and tonight especially with his superb photos. So over to Derek Schofield.
Oh, thank you very much, Ian, and hello to everybody. Hope you're all enjoying the evening. It's been smashing. I keep coughing because of all the singing. Now, we've already heard some carols from a Plegóin from Rhiannon and Trevor, and in a minute we're going to hear some more. Over 10 years ago, Ian and I went to a Plegóin service in the village church that Rhiannon referred to earlier on. It was a really great experience hearing the soloists, the duos, the groups, children, adults, families, all singing their carols. I'm very sad to hear that the church has closed, but hopefully the village will carry on singing. Now, we have a few more carols from a Plegóin from Party Bren Haelog. Now, when they came to the Festival of Village Carols in 2008, I thought one of the singers seemed familiar. And we had a little chat and we discovered that we both worked in Crewe in Cheshire. Gareth Williams, now retired, worked there as a solicitor, and I'd often seen him walking along the main road near his office. Now, in 2008, we welcomed to the festival Gareth and his sister Rhiannon and their cousins Peter and Linda. Now, due to COVID restrictions, we unfortunately can't be joined by Peter and Linda this evening. But Gareth and Rhiannon, we have them both here, I believe. So, Gareth, can you tell us something about the family tradition, please? Unmute. Unmute. You need to unmute, Gareth. Gareth, unmute.
Rhiannon, there's a microphone symbol near the bottom and a red cross over it. If you could find that and click it, that would be a great help, Rhiannon. Okay. It's still muted, I'm afraid. Go on, try again. Have a look. We're looking for a microphone symbol. Maybe it's at the top.
Top right-hand corner. No.
And it's got a red line over it. We can't unmute you, I'm afraid. You have to unmute yourselves. That's the Welsh for XXXXX. Muted. Gareth is still seeking it out. As you can tell, Gareth is blind, and it's not as easy for someone who can't see. Hooray!
Yeah.
So yes, Gareth, if you could tell us something about the family tradition, please.
Okay. After all that, I will. I know from researches on the internet that. Hang on, let me switch off the screen reader.
Exit NVDA dialog. What would you like to do? Combo box
I'd like you to shut up. Right. Okay. I know from internet researches on newspapers that singing goes back in the family as far as my great-grandfather, who was singing in 1880. But Party Bron Haelog goes back as far as probably the 1930s. when at Bronhaelog, a farm on the Powys Shropshire border, about 8 miles from Oswestry, there were 6 brothers and sisters, all of whom sang, but 4 of whom sang as a quartet. They sang for 20 years until the girls moved away, and then after that the 3 brothers, our dad, Peter and Linda's dad, and their brother Tom, all sang together and were recorded in the 1960s by the Welsh Folk Museum, which resulted in their issuing an EP of carols. Uncle Tom died in 1971, and so Peter and I then joined the party, and we sang with our dads until my dad passed away in 1979, and Peter's in 1993. At that point, Rhian and Linda joined us, and we then went back to being a quartet, which is how it had all started in the first place.
So I think we're going to see some archival film, aren't we? So could you explain what we're going to see in these first films, please, Gareth?
Yeah, sure. The first 2 clips, well, the first one is a clip I found only recently. It's a video of the 3 brothers singing at Llamihangel, Plunged, which is where you went, in 1966. There's only 1 verse of it, but it shows what their singing was like. And they are singing Hosanna Fawr, which we sang at Grenoside in 2008. And in fact, everybody joined in the chorus, and it's been on YouTube ever since. The second one is called Ewyllys Da I Ddyn, which is Goodwill to All Men. And we recorded this for a television programme in 1999.
Okay, we're going to see these films now. Thank you.
Mae Bethlehem dir yn ôl a'i gan, o naws o goriant neb. A'r lle I gyd yn llawn o gan, yn dwaid a'i gariad eb. Ymedlwn ni na iam anal, ar gael soinion fwyn, Hosanna fawr, o glod i'r baban glan. A beth yw'r golau mawr y glan, yw'r llawer hael a nef, a beth yw'r sŵn yr hyfryd Gerllawen Bethlehem dref, anrolio nef a ddaeth I law, o lys ar uchel ddew. I ddatgan gered I caedwad mawr, I achub dan ôl rhyw. A dyna'r gan a boed i'ch bron, un o'n ar hyn o bryd. Mynegi'r wyth newydd newyddion llawn, a berthyn i'r holl byd. Cant gannoedd caedwad tegau wyrdd, yn ninas Dafydd wyw. Yr hwn yw Crist ar flaen hyn, a mabathol dduw. A hyn yw'r arwydd wrth bain, a gwelwch baban ior. Mae wedi ei rwy'n wael ei lyd, a'i ben ar wen harmoniant beth. Amen.
That was great. Now, I think you'll need to unmute again, Gareth. Okay, well, thank you very much for those two clips of film. Now we've got some more recent film. The first film clip comes from the 2008 Festival of Village Carols, and the second clip was in fact only made within the last 2 weeks for a forthcoming TV programme by Snap-in Film Company, who have kindly made it available to us. Again, it features Gareth and Rhian, as well as Peter and Linda, all socially distanced. Can you tell us something about these carols, please, Gareth?
Yeah, the first one, as you say, is taken from the 2008 festival recording and is of a carol which is a dance tune, really, originally, called Sodal Buch, or Cow's Heel, and we each sing a little bit as a solo in it, and it seems to be remarkably fast. The second one is called Clychau Ruabon, and is probably one of the oldest carols we do, and hasn't before been heard in Sheffield. As you say, we're very grateful for the permission to use it from the television company which recorded it only a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, thanks very much. Let's see the videos now then, thanks.
Nicht waffe fod ein Million, ein gwiriad hynny gwael, bydd ben y lad a treb y llad, wy'n gaid fod wedi ei gael. Fe wydd a gyrfa weddus, ni anrhydeddus da, mae Dyw ei hun oedd yn o'n ddyn, mewn plentyn heb ddidwa. A bod ei nod y naw, a fyny tyrfa faw, o hil syrfiedig I selys, golledig uwch y llaw. Drwy ddod ei hun, I ddawad ei wisg o farwy'n wael. I froddi iawn yn llwyr a llaw, o'r gyfiawn idd i'w gael. A'r afeth mawr ar oes, y gryno ar y groes, a'i fendigedig ymddygiadau yn lan y dan a'i loes. Oedd am ddiau yn cwbwhau, o'r lafroedd ddyf yn llawn. Nes gwaediad hi o'r hagen hi, ni gefais dedwydd iawn. Efneth o dyfais diafol, gaeth i'w o'n ôl ei nerf, drwy waed e lif na beth e byd, rwy waed I dim o'i werth. Roedd Iesu llew hi a glif, o dan ei glwy ei glif, ei ran ei grib a sarf ei lif, fe god ei fyny ei fydd. Ond rhyfedd iawn y tro, o'r cladwn am ei co, mae Joseph o gyf Jese, a dorau faglau fo. Abigail mwyn a ddaeth I ddwyn ei weiniau dwyn i'w di. Ydyn y graith o blith y blaid, y llariad at o'n llun. Mae Jubilee'n y wlad, yn sainio pibes had, y rhai sy'n credu yn y Iesu, sy'n deulu anwyldad. Ein troches glyd, an heddo hyd, pan fyddor byd ar ben. Pan cyflam hyd, sy'n draw i'r bydd, am mawredd oll, amen. Clywch adrodd mawr gariad, a Dyw a tybyd, pan
Thank you very much to Party Brunhailog, and thank you very much to Gareth Williams for those introductions. We'll have to catch up, have a drink when you're next back in crew, Gareth. Now, at every one of the previous 12 festivals of Village Carols, I've got up on stage at about this point in the evening and drawn the raffle. Sadly, no raffle this year. But it's also been my pleasurable task over the years to thank various people, and this year is no exception. First, and I think foremost, we have to thank the people for the technical production. First of all, Mike Adamson and Melanie Barber, who have done a fantastic job. We couldn't have managed this evening's events without them. They've just done innumerable Zoom meetings with Ian and with the rest of us. Just done a fantastic job over the last month or so. So thank you very much to Mike and Melanie. Secondly, to Frank Parker and Garland Films and Chris Metherell for use of festival videos. To Snap In Film Company for the Party Brunhailog film, and Tinopolis Film Company for the Party Brunhailog film. For the Rhiannon's videos. Ian has asked me to thank myself for the photos of past festivals in the slideshows. I hope some of you saw younger versions of yourselves. Thank you very much to all our soloists, especially our guests from Wales. Thank you very much to my fellow MCs, Julia Bishop, Ray Ellison, and of course Ian Russell. Thank you to the festival committee members who have been very busy behind the scenes this evening, checking up on YouTube and Facebook and so on. All the festivals couldn't have taken place without the fantastic administration of Norma Russell, and this year has been no exception. She's worked very, very hard sorting out all the registrations, and she's been helped as well by Melanie Barber and Mike Adamson. So thank you to Norma as ever. And of course to Ian Russell, director of the Festival of Village Carols and producer of the music books and the CDs, which are available from the Village Carols website, www.villagecarols.org.uk. And of course he's recently been awarded an MBE, so congratulations to Ian. Thank you to all the participants, whether you've been on Zoom, on Facebook, on YouTube. We think there have been about 1,000 of you in total, and that means as many of you are watching with someone else, that probably means something up to about perhaps 2,000 people. Thank you very much to the singers and the instrumentalists. Now, this virtual Grand Sing has been recorded and will be available after tonight on YouTube. Just search for Festival of Village Carols. Thank you very much also to all the people who have made a donation. The donations help us to cover costs, and we're also making a donation to Weston Park Cancer Charity in Sheffield in memory of Chris Lowry, a much missed former member of the festival committee. You can donate via PayPal, and the site is easy to remember. It's just paypal.me/villagecarols, and the information is on the screen. And finally, don't forget the next Festival of Village Carols, when the Glen Rock Carolers from the USA will be the guests. That's on the 3rd of December 2022. Goodness me. But we're not finished yet. We've still got 4 or 5 carols to come. So now on to the next carol. Now we perhaps expect carols to make some mention of Jesus, but this one has no reference to Christianity whatsoever. Nevertheless, it is central to the carol tradition and a great one for us all to sing. So here, led by Graham Walsh, we have the carolers from the George at Upper Denby at the 2016 Festival of Village Carols with Hail Smiling Morn.
rosy fingers open wide the gates of heaven. All the gay face of nature doth unfold, gay face of nature doth unfold, at whose bright presence darkness flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away. Darkness flies away, darkness flies away, at whose bright presence darkness flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away. Hail, 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 hail. Oh, the gay face of nature doth unfold, gay face of nature doth unfold, at whose bright presence darkness flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away. Darkness flies away, darkness flies away, at whose bright presence darkness flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away, flies away. Hail, 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 hail.
Well, goodness me, too busy holding me pint in the air and taking us up, I don't know. Well done, Upper Denby, well done, the George, well done, Graham, well done, all the singers from Upper Denby. Goodness me, don't they do a great job? And I think about the people who've led those singers over the years. I think about Cyril Latimer, who led them at the Fountain in Birchworth, and they led them for approaching 50 years. Cyril led them. They'd come from the Green Dragon, but then at Thurgerland, but then they moved to the Fountain in Birchworth. Everybody knew it affectionately as the Rag and Louse. But anyway, they sang their hearts out there with Cyril, and then sadly Cyril passed away, and Barry Bridgewater stepped in, and Barry did a wonderful job with the singing, and he was so loyal and so true, and he led us through goodness knows how many years and took us to the George at Upper Denby, and then Graham took over when Barry died. So there we are, a lovely story. And we're going to go now to hear a carol that is sometimes sung at the George of Upper Denby. It's certainly creeping into their repertoire. Certainly is. It wasn't in Cyril's day, I hasten to add, but it is now. But we're going to hear it from Grenoside and Ecclesfield singers. We're going to hear it from John Bowden and Vicky, his wife Vicky.
Oh, thank you, Ian. What a great evening this has been, hasn't it? Quite in contrast to the previous one, which had nothing to do with Christmas at all. This one is all about Christmas. It's certainly not any sort of religious carol. It's not even a carol, really. It isn't poignant or lyrical, but it's a good one to sing at this time of the evening when you've got in good voice and you really want to let rip. I always say, if you have hair, this is the time when you can let it down. It's Kris Kringle, also known as the Christmas tree, and there are lots of ho-hos to join in with, so please do. And it won't matter how many ho-hos you sing, really. You can sing all of them, or you can sing them in answer to what I sing. It's up to you, but Please enjoy it. Who comes this way so blithe and gay upon this merry Christmas day? So merrily, so cheerily, with his peak cap and his reindeer sleigh, with lots of toys for girls and boys, as pretty as you ever did see. Oh, this is Santa Claus's man, Kris Kringle and his Christmas tree. Ho, 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 jingle, 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 jing, right merry shall you be. And jingle, jingle, he comes this way, he comes with his Christmas tree. And welcome, 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 Kris, right welcome shall you be. For here he is, yes, yes he is, 'tis Kris with his Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree. His sleigh bells ring with a merry ching, as off the reefs his reindeer spring. Gee up, gee ho, how swift they go, over the ice and the drifts of snow. For he must call on one and all, his master's pretty pets you see. For he is Santa Claus's man, Kris Kringle in his Christmas tree. Ho, 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 and jingle, 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 jing, right merry shall you be. And jingle, jingle, he comes this way, he comes with his Christmas tree. And welcome, 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 Kris, right welcome shall you be. For here he is, yes, yes he is, this Kris with his Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree. With cakes and plums, trumpets and drums, and lots of pretty things he comes. So now be quick, your circle make, and all a merry circle make. For now he's near, he'll soon appear, and we his jolly face shall see. Oh, welcome Santa Claus's man, Kris Kringle and his Christmas tree. Ho, 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 and jingle, 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 jing, right merry shall you be. And jingle, jingle, he comes this way, he comes with his Christmas tree. And welcome, 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 Kris, right welcome shall you be. For here he is, yes, yes he is, this Kris with his Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree, the Christmas tree.
Well done, John. Outstanding in your own park. Brilliant. That was great. And Vic with the props as well. I enjoyed the Christmas tree. It appeared every time at the chorus. Absolutely brilliant. I thought I'd read you this little piece this is from the Sheffield Independent, 28th of December, 1908. And it says, these village carolers can always depend on a popular reception. And he's talking about the big set, and my head's disappearing off the bottom of the screen. So I will lift up the book. Okay, these village carolers can always depend on a popular reception wherever they go, not only because of their singing and playing, but because individual members often contribute a song or musical selection that adds to the joyousness of the festivities. Well, that's not died out. One veteran in the Worrell and Outerbridge party, who is possessed of a fine bass voice, makes a practice of singing Kris Kringle, the Santa Claus's man, as a solo for the benefit of the youngsters, and his performance ever wins applause. Well, there we go. So that's one thing that hasn't changed. John's performance ever wins applause. Well done, John. And thank you, Vic. Okay, so we're going to move on now. But before we move on, I should tell you that these carols come from far and wide, some of them, and that last one comes from the USA. Yeah, it's from a guy called William Bradbury. William Bradbury was quite an extraordinary guy. Long before Moody and Sankey, he came over to the UK, came over to England, and he was singing and teaching people revivalist gospel songs long before Moody and Sankey, as I say. But William Bradbury wrote it and published it in the 1860s. And the conception of Father Christmas and Santa Claus and St. Nicholas and all the reindeer and the rest of it were a bit different in those days. So that's lovely to hear. And we had a run through, didn't we, John? We had a run through, and Chris Kringle and his rainbow sleigh. I thought that was really nice. A sort of tribute, hidden tribute there to the NHS. Very good. Okay, we're going to move on now, and we've got time for a little foretaste of our guests for the 2022, I can't count, festival. And on the 3rd of December, we will be welcoming Glen Rock carolers from York County, Pennsylvania. And many of us have been over there and enjoyed their wonderful hospitality. Goodness me, we've been bowled over by it. And they have been to us in 2002 and 2012. It's been a most wonderful get-together. We've had get-togethers with people from County Wexford in Ireland, from Kilmore. We've had people get-togethers, wonderful get-togethers with Padstow, with Odcombe in Somerset. The carols have led us to all amazing encounters. But here we're going to celebrate our friendship and our forthcoming guests, Glen Rock carolers.
Some of our songs, you might notice, have several different names. First song we sang was Christmas Hymn. Many people just refer to it as Christians Awake, or Christians Awake Salute This Happy Morn. I bet that less than half of you know the name of the next song. The next song we would like to sing for you is called The Incarnation of Christ. You might know it as While Shepherds Watch Their Flocks by Night, or just Wild Shepherds. Wild Shepherds.
I'm a lone clapper. I had hoped others would join me. Are you going to join me and give Glen Rock a round of applause? Come on, join in. Okay, that was super. Aren't they great? Don't they do a wonderful job? And I love the characters that they had when they went round carol singing. They had a peanut man, and they still have a peanut man who gives out free peanuts to all the children. And they also had, I don't think they have this figure so much now, but they had a dog pelter. I'm all for dog pelters when you're carol singing. Very good. Okay, and well done, Glen Rock. I know Daryl Engler and a number of Glen Rock carolers are listening and joining in with us. So thank you, Daryl. Thank you, everyone from Glen Rock. All the very best from us over here. There we are. Well, we're moving on now. We're moving on. And before we move on, just a PS to that carol. That carol is sung in Fulo and Castleton to different words, once more the sweet melodious sound. How about that then? And another of Glen Rock's old originals is Hark, Hark, What News? And it's the same tune that Castleton sing. It's the same tune that Greenmore sing. And it's a tune by the wonderful Sheffield composer, the blacksmith, who worked at the anvil and died in the poorhouse, poor fella, in 1794, John Hall. So isn't that amazing? We have so much in common with Glen Rock carolers. And now I thought we wouldn't be fitting this carol in. I thought there's no way we can get this carol in. And people wrote to me who I sent the music to and said, Ian, Diadem isn't in our music. You're quite right. Diadem isn't in our music because I never thought we'd get to it, but we've got to it. We're going to have Diadem, and all you folks with instruments, if you haven't got the carol book, well, you'll have to sing. And the words are just great. Yeah, James Eller, Droylsden, yeah. That was good, wasn't it? That was good. That was really good. I enjoyed that. I love the coda as well. Crown him Lord of all. We can really get into that. And that symphony. Ooh, and that was written by a local man. We know it was written by somebody from Bradfield. So that is very special. Yeah, lovely. You won't hear it anywhere unless they've learnt it from us. You won't hear it anywhere else, but very special indeed. Well, it comes to the point of the evening, and I'm looking now at my prompt sheet, and it says we're going to sing Merry Christmas. Well, that is great. Merry Christmas, it's such a wonderful carol, and it's associated with those guys, the big set, with William Mount, with the Mount family, very much associated with them. Lovely tune. I love carols when they're in three time. I love them when they have triplets as well. It sounds like they're giving birth, sorry. Anyway, so Merry Christmas, and the Mount family were so well known for doing this that I've come across several instances of it being referred to as the Mount's Merry Christmas. So there we are. You'll not hear a bit of figgy pudding in this carol. It is so good. It is wonderful, and we love it. And it's a lovely way to finish our festival. We join heart and hand. We join heart and hand. And as you will see, and I don't know, if you want to stand up, I've been standing up for just about every carol I've sung, but if you want to stand up, now's the chance. And if you've got someone else to hold the heart and hand of, that's even better. So let's all sing Mount's Merry Christmas. You're all supposed to be unmuted now.
Need to unmute.
Right, Ian, it's
Well done,
working.
Ian.
Brian, hi Auntie. Hey Roger. Hey there.
Hold on.
The microphone is it's up there.
No. It's Charlotte. What's up?
Oh goodness me.
That's Matt Carroll. Oh, can you see him now?
Hey.
Oh,
There we are.
Lynn!
Hey.
Charlotte.
Program goes around 1,000 screens.
I've just done. There she is. Now.
We set off somebody's burglar alarm there by the sound of it. Very good. Excellent. Hey there, Carmen. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. And
Good
everyone.
Hey.
Would welcome.
Say thank you.
They say it's not all over till the fat lady sings, and if she was here, she'd hit me for that. But we haven't got a fat lady to sing. We've got Will Noble, and it wouldn't be complete without an epilogue from Will Noble to sing us the Christmas Goose. Hooray!
That's the other one that
Unmuted and now. Are we back on again? Right, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
It was at an inn in Manchester, the Cornstalks was the sign, a famous public where commercials used to sleep and dine. One Christmas time a traveller, so long had been his use, called to spend his holidays and choose his Christmas goose. All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. He drank his pint of sherry wine, he smoked a mild cigar, he chatted with the customers and people in the bar, but not a thought of wickedness e'er entered in his head, until the chambermaid appeared to light him up to bed. All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. But then he grew so amorous, he squeezed her on the stairs, he kissed her at the chamber door before he said his prayers. He gave to her a guinea to prevent her being vexed, and then he blew the candle out, and you can guess the next. All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. Next morning this Lothario discharged his little bill. He tipped the boats and tossed the landlord for a parting gill. But where he went to afterwards it's not for me to say. Suffice he came to choose his goose that very next Christmas Day. All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. Next Christmas time came round again, which filled his heart with glee. He'd wandered round from town to town, and strange sights did he see, till he ended up in Manchester and put up for the night at the Cornstalks, which 12 months before had filled him with delight. All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. He went into the coffee room as jaunty as could be, where many a rooster like himself was waiting for his tea. He ordered of the very best the landlord could produce, and called the waiter back to say, "Now don't forget the goose." All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. Right speedily a tray was brought with eatables galore, and by that self-same chambermaid he'd kissed 12 months before. But nothing loth he raised the cloth whereon a heap was piled. Instead of eatables thereon was a big fat bumping child. All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. Enraged at seeing others laugh, "What is this here?" said he. "Come sit ye down beside me, and I'll tell you, sir," said she. "Last Christmas you so generous were, pray do not look so strange. You gave to me a guinea, and I've brought you back your change." All around the greenwood, so early in the morn, the merry, merry huntsman blows his silver bugle horn. Right, what does I think to that?
Well done, Will. Well done. That was brilliant. Absolutely super. And everyone seems quite quiet now. Is that because they're still muted? We need everyone to babble along. We need a bit of reaction. There's Rog.
Wonderful way to end the evening.
Good. Where are the people from Newfoundland? Are they still with us?
No, but I'm coming in.
Have we got people from Washington, D.C.? Where are you?
I'm coming in from Greenfield, Massachusetts.
You, hooray! Well done, Greenfield. Have we got anybody from Vilnius? Have we got anybody from the family in Vilnius? Who knows? Oh, we've got, goodness me, we've got someone from the very north. Somewhere near the North Pole. It's David Broughton and Jennifer.
I think there were more photographs of you, Dave Broughton, than anyone else.
Very photogenic.
Yeah, very photogenic.
I think he just got in the way of the camera, Derek. Hi, Trish.
Bill.
Facebook, see it, Trish.
Will, are you still there?
Thank you, woman.
Hello, Sheila. Hello, Sue. Hello,
Hey, Sheila.
Bill and Pippa, are you still there? Bill and Pippa?
I thought it was lovely.
Yes, we're here. We are here. Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Did you see
Will.
Cuthbert getting jet? Gradually older and older as the photos went through.
Definitely.
Derek started off as a young
From prepubescent to that T-shirt with the 999 on it.
Hi, Dave. Good to see you both.
Ian, we're about to go, so thank you very much. We'll catch you later. Good night.
Cheers.
That was a super evening. Thank you very much.
Hi, Helen. Hi, David.
Hi, Will.
I can see Vicky and Trevor.
Hey.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky. Hi, Trevor.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, John.
Hey.
I'm Shorter. Hello.
Hello, hello from Dunworth.
Don't take any notice of them, Derek. They're up the road from Dunkworth. They're just trying to claim something.
Closer than you are, David.
The bloody Southerners.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Hello, Sheila.
Look.
Who am I saying hello to?
Betty. Hello.
Hi, Corinne.
Yeah.
Well, that's been grand. I'm glad. I'm going to be glad to get out of this church. It's really cold in here.
Sheila, all you've got to do is lean backwards.
I'm wondering about leaving.
It's got the greatest gallery imaginable, West Gallery.
But if you lean backwards, you'll find you're in your sitting room.
Yeah. I'll still be in the room though.
Very good.
I guess I can just turn it down. Yeah, virtual phone.
Seems so quiet when I turn this off.
Al and Mike, we're ready for the slide.
Okay.
People can still keep oh dear. Got my consonants in the right order.
Thank you, Ian, Norma, and everyone.